you went through college, you grew up in Vancouver, and then you ended up going to Korea,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a very bold move. And yes, there are a lot of musicians who have done it, myself included, but it's not easy. Like, what was that process like for you? How did you end up in Korea? Flight booked. What happened?
Yeah. So I started music in Canada first, and then I'd independently distribute my songs through a lot of platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And then during that time, I don't know, something about Korea just kind of intrigued me. I wanted to make music, but at the same time, I felt like I had what do you say? A little bit of a perk of being able to speak English and have that like English accent, you know, when you sing and stuff like that. And that was when, and it was during when Korea had this phase of like hip hop and R&B was blowing up, and they would take a lot of Western influences and stuff like that. So I figured, man, like it'd be fun to make music in Korea. And I always wanted to go back eventually because even though I lived my whole life in Canada, I had like a really strong pride of being Korean. Like watching the Olympics or like the World Cup, I'd cheer for Korea like nonstop.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like super, you know, patriotic about Korea when I'm Canadian. So yeah, but what got me there was like realistically, like and financially, I was able to sell my first song, and that was a crazy moment because it was a A&R, like a manager type of deal. She was like a freelancer, and then she this girl hit me up, and then she asked me if I had any demos because she wanted to pitch it to an artist in China. And then I had no idea who she was or who this artist was, and then you know, why not? So I just sent a few demos, and then even she couldn't believe it. She was like, "You'll never believe what happened," but LUHAN, who was an EXO member that went to China, and then he blew up, and he wants to buy your song. And then I'm like, that's because I'm like in my parents' basement, like making music, like making no money off music. Yeah. And then I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then, but I didn't know if I could trust anyone. I was just scared. And then, but then, you know, I figured it was all legit. She sent me the contracts and everything, read through them, and then I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's make the deal. And then it was like a buyout of the song. So I don't get any royalties, but then, you know, it's like a straight buyout. So I get money right away. And then with that money, I was like, you know what? It's time to go. It's time to pack up. And then it's like, you know, people, when people decide to go to a different country to live, you think about it about like a few months or like a year.
Oh yeah. At least a little bit. Yeah.
Dude, I thought about it for like 5 hours and I decided. It was a no-brainer, to be honest.
Oh man.
And as soon as I got the money, I was like, okay, this is happening. And then I got the tickets, and then I saved up a little bit and I moved to Korea.
That's so wild. I mean, first of all, how old were you when you sold your song to LUHAN?
I was 21, I believe. 21 or 22. So you're like 2, yeah.
Okay, so you're fresh. Were you just out of college, or were you still in college?
Yeah, no, I just graduated, and then I was putting out music on like platforms and stuff, and I was getting a little bit of listeners, but then it was just like a kickstart kind of thing.
So you went from like pretty much SoundCloud from your parents' basement to one of the biggest artists in China. Then you booked a ticket to Korea, and you're like, I'm gonna do this music thing, which is A, incredible. B, also wow. C, what did your parents say?
I mean, well, first of all, I feel like, man, I was really, really lucky, and I was really like, it was like one of those things where like everything just lined up at the time. And then my parents realized that as well. And even though they couldn't let their like baby go, you know, to another country, and they're so worried and stuff like that, they knew this was like an opportunity for me, and I really wanted this. So yeah, they were totally okay with it. But then I have to thank my brothers a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they made those exact kind of choices as well. Like even my oldest brother, he's an artist, so he paints.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
he paints
awesome.
And and he illustrates and stuff like that. And you know, that's not like a stable kind of like
Traditional
traditional
job,
thing.
yeah.
Because Korean parents, you know, they want you to be
Right.
doctors or lawyers and stuff. And then, but then he kind of started that off being the oldest, and then showing my parents that it's possible to pursue a dream with art,
Right.
and you can make a living off it. And then, yeah, because of him, I gotta thank him. That's what I think. That's what made my parents a little more open minded.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool. Shout out to your brother. Otherwise,
Shout
we
out to
wouldn't
my
have your
brother.
music. Shout out, brother.
Shout out,
Hey guys, before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications for this channel, and comment if you can. And before you go, there's so much more content. Look at this amazing content for you guys to check out. Do it now, please. Okay, bye. Go. Bye.